Hello everyone, we are the Group 12 and I am Jerry Davida. Our topic is all about authentic assessment. What is authentic assessment? Authentic assessment is an assessment that the learner must perform real-world tasks. For example, interviewing a PE teacher and we ask some related questions that are related to our course, and by that we perform real-world tasks. And next, according to Richard J. Stevens, authentic assessment is a performance assessment. It is to demonstrate a specific skills that we mastered and we will apply that skills. Next is, what does authentic assessment looks like? An authentic assessment usually includes a task for students to perform and a rubric by which their performance on the task will be evaluated. For example, is a teacher will give some activities and he or she have a rubric in which the performance of the students will be evaluated. Traditional assessment versus authentic assessment. Traditional assessment examples are multiple choice, gut feel, true or false, and matching type. And authentic assessment examples are inventories, peer rating or self-rating, journals, portfolios, discussion, and interview. For the traditional assessment, it is to develop productive citizens, must possess a body of knowledge and skills. Schools must teach this body of knowledge and skills. Test the students if they acquired the knowledge and skills. And for the authentic assessment, to develop productive citizens, must be capable of performing real tasks. Schools must help students become proficient at performing tasks and have the students perform meaningful tasks. For the traditional assessment, the curriculum drives assessment. Number one is the body of knowledge is determined first. Decide the curriculum, and the last is the assess to determine if acquisition of the curriculum occurred. And for the authentic assessment, it is the assessment drives the curriculum. First is tasks are determined first. Second, students perform to demonstrate their mastery. And last, to design the curriculum. Traditional assessment is selecting a response, contrive, recall, recognition, teacher structured, and indirect evidence. And for the authentic assessment, performing a task, real life, construction or application, student structured, and direct evidence. Alternative names for authentic assessment. We have performance assessment, alternative assessment, and direct assessment. Performance assessment is an assessment measures how well students apply their knowledge, skills, and abilities to authentic problems. And alternative assessment is a method of evaluation that measures a student's level of proficiency in a subject as opposed to the student's level of knowledge. And lastly, direct assessment is a professional makes decision regarding what a student learned and how well it was learned. For example, faculty evaluated papers, tests, or performances. Why use authentic assessment? Authentic assessments are direct measures. For example, a teacher who do not just want the student to know the content of their subjects when they graduated, but the teachers want them to be able to use the acquired knowledge and skills in the real life world.
Also, authentic assessment capture constructive nature of learning. We cannot simply be feed knowledge. We need to construct our own meaning of the word using information we have gathered and we are taught in our own experience with the word. Brasford and V. 1989. Also, authentic assessment integrate teaching learning assessment. In the authentic assessment model, the same authentic task used to measure the student ability to apply the knowledge or skills is used as a vehicle for the student learning. When present with a real world problem to solve, students are learning is the process of developing a solution. Teacher are facilitating the process, and the student's solution to the problem becomes an assessment of how well the student can meaningfully apply the concept. Also, we have authentic assessment provide multiple paths to demonstrates. We all have different strategy and weaknesses in how we learn. Similarly, we are different in how we can best demonstrate what we have learned. Testing favors to those that be the better test taker. So, in how create authentic assessment. First, identify the standard. Second, select an authentic task. Third, create the criteria for task. And fourth, create for the rubric. Step 1. Identify the standard. Standard-like goals are statement of what students should know and able to do. However, standards are typically more narrow in scope and more unable to assessment than goals. So a standard is like a goal of a statement for the student, yung gusto nimo makuha sa student ninyo. Namin, yung gusto na makuha natin sa student natin. Yan yung first step. Second step is select an authentic task. Find a way student can demonstrate that they are fully capable of meeting the standard. The language of a well-written standard can spell out what a task should ask student to do to demonstrate their mastery of it. So, yung selection of an authentic task na po is maghanap tayo ng authentic na task or select tayo ng task na makikita natin yung at makikita natin paano ma-demonstrate ng bata yung gusto nating makita na task. Next, step 3, identify the criteria for task. Ask what does good performance on the task look like, or how will I look they have done of a good job on the task. Criteria, indicators of a good performance task. First, characteristic of a good criteria. First, clearly stated, brief, observable, statement of behavior, written and language student understand. Standard, for example, the standard is the student will conduct banking transaction. Task, make deposit, withdrawals, and cash checks at the bank. Criteria, select needed form, deposit, withdrawal, fill in form with the necessary information, endorse, check, locates, open, teller, set, states type of transaction. Step 4, create the rubric. Once you have idea on criteria you want to look for an indicator for the good performance, you need to decide whether to consider the criteria analytical or holistical. Yan yung rubric. May score level 4, 3, 2, 1. Criteria, yung indicator ng criteria, for example, the student actually has no trace for the first language influentiation is a fairly standard American. Yan yung level 4, 3, 2, 1. Tapos, kung may rubric composition na kayo for written, we have the organization, content, vocabulary, 4, 3, 2, 1 pa rin. Yan yung paggawa ng analytic rubric. Tapos, designing a rubric, yan.
Characteristics of authentic assessment. Self-assessment means the process of having the learner critically reflect upon, record the progress of, and perhaps suggest grades for their own learning. In physical education, self-assessment is very important because it helps students to reflect and self-correct. It enables immediate feedback so that students can start improving straight away, and also self-assessment helps students to develop higher order evaluate skills. Peer assessment refers to the process of having the learners critically reflect upon and perhaps suggest grades for the learning of their peers. Good peer assessment is collaborative and promote cooperative learning. In turn, it helps the student take an active role in the assessment of learning and even more crucially in the process of assessing for learning.
Next, we have portfolio assessment descriptors. What is portfolio? A portfolio is a collection of the student work that has been. What is portfolio? A portfolio is a collection of student work that has been selected and organized. So yung portfolio daw is collection siya sa mga works ng mga estudyante pero selected lang pero naka-organize na siya. To show student learning progress is development portfolio. To show sample of the student best work, showcase portfolio. It is not a scrapbook but a purposeful collection of anything worth considering. Portfolio as a purpose of portfolio assessment. Monitor student progress, formative, assess student achievement, summative, determine student grade, summative. Types of portfolio. Working portfolio, documentary portfolio, showcase portfolio. What is working portfolios? It consists of collection of what is working portfolios? Consists of collection of the day-to-day work of the student. They reflect the progress of the student and particular art of learning, provide opportunity to growth through self-reflection. So yung working portfolio naman is a day-to-day work of the student na kinokollect and tinitingnan yung progress ng isang estudyante. Kasi pwede mo yun siya i-compare sa past niya na activity and saka present niya para makita mo na may improvement yung isang bata. What is documentary portfolios? Collections of the best work of the student assembled for assessment purposes. Showcase the final products of the student work. Provide evidence that certain instructional goals are realized. Indicate student progress and weaknesses from one learning area to another. So, ang documentary portfolios naman siya is that yun yung mga best work ng student, yung ginakollect ng student, yung final para pang showcase niya. At saka, pakita niya doon, ang indicate niya na ang yung progress ng weakness niya from ganito to ganyan is maganda. For example, sa dance, nakita niya yung video niya dati na ganito siya sumayaw tapos nagpractice at saka nakita niya yung best niya sa sayaw niya. Yun yung documentary portfolio niya na yung best niya na ngayon nakita niya na isa-isa niya na natago yung na-collect niya yung mga videos niya. Next is what is show portfolios? Purposeful collection of the limited amount of student work, usually finished product to display the best he or she accomplishment in a given period. May contain art project, essay, story, poetry of research paper, reflect the curriculum goals of the learning areas. So, ang showcase portfolio naman is that yun yung mga sa short period of time na matapos niya yung kanyang gawain tapos i-collect ng teacher yung gawa niya at saka yung napakita niya is yung the best niya, yung kaya niya magawa yung isang activity or task within the given time of period. Yan yung showcase portfolio. I-showcase niya yung anong meron siya in a short time of period. All, thank you.